Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday indeed. Oh, we got a fun one. We got a nice close to the week. It's going to be a good time. Taking a little page out of last week's AMRAP that we did, and we're tweaking that workout a little bit to have a little bit more fun today. Before we get to the work set, though, let's talk about the warm-up. We're going to do a lot of lower body stuff, getting the hamstrings prepped, the hips prepped. We're going to do a single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 aside. Single leg RDL, 3 to 5 aside. Single leg bridge march, 20 seconds of just steady kind of flow, working on getting those glutes and hips kind of woken up. We got 2 rounds of that, just kind of heating that up. Then we'll move into some skill work. We're going to work a single arm kettlebell deadlift or dumbbell deadlift, just working on keeping the body square, working against that rotation, fighting against the rotation, and just taking our time, really maintaining good position. Vertical power jump for 20 seconds, get the hips ready, get a little more explosive. Kettlebell swing or dumbbell swing for 5 to 7 reps, and then we're going to move into a little run of 100 to 200 meters. So taking that down, getting ourselves kind of ready, fired up for that run, or whatever that cardio piece turns into. You're going to practice that in place of the run to make sure you're getting yourself prepped for the work set ahead. The work set today is a little different from last week. We have 5 rounds of work, so it's not an AMRAP, it's 5 rounds of work. You're going to run 400 or 200. So last week when we did this workout of the 200s, we're like, oh, that's a far enough distance for me to go. Oh, stick with the 2, get them faster, get them more consistent, and rock them hard today. If you're like, no, I'm good with a little bit more volume for the run, take it down 400 meters, then you're going to move into kettlebell swing of 15, all right, and then 15 burpees. So we're going to add a little bit more volume to the work set per round and have a lot of fun with this one. So I hope you enjoy it. Take it down, 5 rounds for time and quality, of course. But let's get you fired up, warmed up, and ready for action. All right, you guys, let's get those feet under the hips. We'll take the arms big and tall up overhead. We'll stretch it over to one side, and we'll come back through, stretching it to the other side. We'll come back up. We're going to scratch our back, then reach to the elbow. We'll come back up, big stretch. Scratch your back, reach to the elbow. Good, come back up, big stretch. And we'll take it all the way down the floor, touching those toes. Walk out those shins, nice flat back. We'll come down and frame a foot. We're going to step back into our lizard. We're going to plant that hand on the front foot, lock in the legs. We're going to turn the torso towards the hand. We're going to come back through and lower that knee. We're going to press the hip and then come out with that outside hand. We're going to reach into the ceiling. We're going to come back down, straighten out the leg, turn the torso, come back to the center, lower, press the hip, open up with that outside hand. Down. We're going to straighten out that back leg, turn the torso, come back to the center, lower, press that hip, and outside hand, big reach. Good, we're going to plant that hand down, plant the hand, straighten out the leg, step back into that down dog, reaching. We're going to walk those heels out, nice and slow and steady. We're going to come back into our plank. We're going to step the other foot up. Nice and square in those hips. We're going to take that inside hand on the front foot, turn the torso, come back through, lower the knee, press the hip, come through, outside hand, reach, plant that hand, straighten the leg, turn, come back through, lower, press the hip, back through, outside hand. One more time, we're going to plant the hand, straighten the leg, turn, back to center, lower, press the hip, and outside hand. We'll plant that hand, grip the floor, straighten out the leg, step back into that down dog as we set the shoulders and walk those heels back and forth, just waking up those calves, waking up those ankles a bit, and then coming back into our plank, pushing the floor away. We'll tiptoe those feet up. Roll ourselves all the way up, big stretch. We'll reach it to one side, take it to the other side, come back down with those hands. Get yourself fired up. All right, if there's any extra stuff you'd like to take down for yourself, just gentle warm up, getting the body kind of flowing, moving, cat-cows, thread the needles, a little more rotation work, please be my guest. Pause the video, take that down now. We're gonna start getting fired up with that lower body work set and getting those hips ready to go. All right, we're gonna kickstart off with a nice gentle kind of rotation and hinge pattern. So we're gonna get our feet underneath of our hips, and we're gonna step one foot out to the front with that straight leg. I'm gonna stay nice and square through the hips and the torso. I'm gonna draw the hip back into that nice hinge we use in the good morning. Then I'm gonna rotate the low rib towards that lead leg and stand tall. So again, working on that nice hinge pattern, and then taking that rotation from that low rib and just taking it as far over towards that knee as you can. Don't worry if you can't touch that knee. We're just going to take it to where you can. So again, one heel out in front, nice and square in the hip, drawing the hip back, and then rotating at the low rib, and then standing up nice and tall. So really focusing first on the hinge, then the rotation, and taking it at a pace that you can maintain your balance. It's very important. The next move we're going to go to is the same kind of flow. We're going to use the single leg RDL without any loading today. If you feel as though you need to load it to get a little bit more activation for the hamstring, please do so. But maybe do that in the second round, not the first. So we'll get our foot plastered here, nice and square in that hip. We're going to set the upper body, and we're going to draw the hip back, keeping that knee stable, taking the hand to the knee, and then standing up nice and tall. So again, like the first exercise, hips are square. We're going to work that hinge pattern. So really focusing on staying flat foot, weight through the midfoot, and then standing tall, opening up the hips, and staying nice and active in that body position. We'll do 3 to 5 per side on that. And again, there's no tempo here, but I really like taking these a little slower, 3 to 5 seconds. It's a nice flow, gets the body moving well, and it just allows you to kind of really feel and own those positions at the hinge. Our last exercise here is going to come down to the floor. And we're going to lay on our back, and our feet are going to be kind of lined up with the glutes, but they're going to be just outside the fingers reach. We're going to take the arms up over the chest, and we're going to reach the shoulders a little bit to get a little bit of protraction. We're going to pull the ribs in a bit. We're going to push down with our feet. Now, once we've established this bridge, we're going to lift the foot and then push that foot into the floor. And then push that foot into the floor and lift. So the emphasis and the focus is not on the height of the leg, but more so the pressure down with the balancing leg. The foot that's lifting only has to come off the ground a little bit because we're taking away that balance point. But we want to focus on the pressure down with the foot so we can feel that leg working. We can feel that hip nice and stable as we put into that 3-point balance. So really focus on the pressure down, not the lift up. You're going to take that back and forth for 20 seconds, and you're just going to work that nice smooth flow. So it's not about max reps. It's about getting that pressure down, feeling that instability, pushing down, feeling that instability, and just going back and forth nice and smooth for 20 seconds. You're going to hit that for 2 rounds. We're going to work through that sequence. We have our single leg good morning with rotation, 3 to 5 per side, slow. Single leg RDL for 3 to 5 a side if you want to add a tempo in. Fully endorse that. Single leg bridge march for 20 seconds for 2 rounds. So it's going to be a really slow moving kind of prepper for the lower half of the body before we start getting very explosive and dynamic. All right, so pause it, take it down. We're going to go through those skills and drills to get you prepped for that explosive work set. All right, we're going to kickstart off this first phase here with a single arm kettlebell or dumbbell deadlift. So we're going to work on just waking up that hinge a little bit and working on staying square in the torso so we're not rotating through the body so that we can build that strength in our workout today. So if I'm standing over top of the dumbbell, I'm going to stand nice and tall. I'm going to use the arm that's not picking up the kettlebell or dumbbell to really focus on that engagement through the chest so I can pull the hip back and down, maintaining that square body. Gripping that dumbbell, I'm going to push through those legs, standing tall. Now for the second one, I'm going to take it down to wherever I feel comfortable. That might be the floor, that might be somewhere below the knee, and I'm going to push through those legs. And the tell is going to be what I can maintain for my back position. So I'm pulling the hips back, lowering down, maintaining that good strong back position, my weight through the laces in the maintaining that position all the way down to the floor. So I want to make sure that I'm only going as deep as I can maintain that position, and I'm pushing to that point where I can challenge it, where it's really hard to, but I can still maintain it. So really keep that in mind as you're moving through this work set. We want to make sure we're keeping that nice and strong. Now from there, we're going to get a little bit more dynamic and explosive. We're going to work that vertical power jump. And you can do this a few different ways. You can do it with the jump drop drill, or you can just go right into those vertical power jumps for 20 seconds. Now with the jump drop drill, it's always a nice way to intro this because it allows us to practice that absorption of impact, and that's always a nice thing to practice. So just as a quick review, what that is, we're going to come up onto those toes, we're going to pull ourselves down into that nice active dynamic position with the knees out, feet nice and flat, mid-foot balance. Now with the rebound, what we're going to look at is coming up onto those toes and coming down and then changing directions right away. So we're absorbing and giving that energy back so we can work on that rebound. If you're looking at that going, I'm going to start with the drop and then just go right into some good rebounds. You can do that and work on that skill. But in the 20 seconds, I don't want you doing more than 5 jumps in a row because I want you to keep them clean and I want you to keep them crisp in that jumping kind of sequence. So I'm going to do 3 back to back without the jump drop drill to start and just get that going. So I start my feet off, I get set, I pull into that power position, up, 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 and I'm landing pretty centered, pulling into that midfoot from my toe to midfoot so I can answer that jump back and give that power and explosiveness back. So take your time with that, really play with those small, quick sets to make sure that those reps are explosive and they're well balanced. From there, we're going to continue that kind of dynamic, explosive position and work on the swing. So if you're using a kettlebell, you'll hold the kettlebell by the handle. You'll take that nice smooth flow up and down. If you're looking at this going, well, I got a dumbbell at home, what can I do for that? Well, you can hold it 3 different ways. So first way, we can hold by the bell itself and get that nice flow. Second, we get holding by the handle, all right, 2 hands. And the third variation, we hold single style, so single hand on the dumbbell. All 3 variations add and give a slightly different response in the body, but we have to remember that the hinge pattern is exactly the same. So regardless of what we do in terms of positioning, the movement mechanics are the same. So I'm going to hold on to the dumbbell by the bell today for the demo. My feet are above squat stance or hip to squat stance, just so I don't crank myself with the kettlebell or dumbbell. I'm going to pull into that kind of hinge position, that power position, and then stand. Let the hips and the legs get that dumbbell moving. I'm bracing through my ribs, so I stay nice and strong through that midsection as I come through. I'm nice and set, and as I come down, I'm also nice and set to absorb that energy. Now the key thing too is we're trying to keep our hands above the knees. So I saw a cool little video the other day with a good explanation. Wrist to zipper, all right? So we want to think wrist to the zipper of our pants if we have a fly in our pants, or we all know what that is. So we want to think wrist to zipper, all right? Not down below. We want to keep those wrists nice and high and those hands above the knee as we do the swing. The last piece of the puzzle with this swing is we want to make sure that we're standing tall, not coming through and leaning back, hinging at that low back. We just want to come back into that hinge, stand tall, and let that energy carry into the arms. But the torso, the body, stays still once we come to that full extension. So really pay attention to that posture. Even if you want to video yourself and check it out after, if you do a few swings, it's not a bad idea to get yourself from a profile view so that you can see that back position and that leg and hip extension. So experiment with that, play with that, rock those swings with whatever grip you'd like. And if you've never done one of the grips, maybe practice with that and see how it feels today so you can get that feel of all 3. Now after that, you're going to go into a 100-meter to 200-meter run or 30 to 60 seconds worth of cardio experience that's going to get you practicing up the cardio piece that you're going to choose. And I'll have a list on the bottom of the workout description for you guys, but this is where we're gonna practice that and get ready for that workout. As a quick recap, we have a single arm kettlebell deadlift, 3 to 5 a side, vertical power jump for 20 seconds, kettlebell swing for 5 to 7 seconds, or for 5 to 7 reps. All right, run 100 to 200 meters or 30 to 60 seconds worth of cardio. That's gonna get you ready for what you're doing in the work set. Pause the video, take that down 2 to 3 rounds, get yourself fired up for this one, you guys. Heart rate should be up a little bit before we start this workout so we can hit those rounds good and strong. Pause the video, rock it, come back and join me. We're gonna talk about that workout. All right, we've made it to the work set. Now, we have 5 rounds of work. 400-meter run or 200-meter run or that run equivalent, which will be on the workout description. Check it out, make it yours. Now from here, we have 15 kettlebell swings at a moderate load that you know that you can just walk up to that bell, tired or not, and pick it up and swing for 15. We shouldn't have to break it up as of yet. You should still be able to swing that kettlebell pretty steadily. Then we're gonna move into the burpee, and we're adding 5 burpees to last week's kind of work set from 10. So we're hitting 15 reps, and we have a choice of burpee or the squat thrust. With the burpee, what we're looking at is we're looking at coming down, hopping those feet back, chest and thighs touch, coming back up. Or we can come down, stepping back, and stepping up in that position. Couple things to focus on in the burpee is making sure that we're keeping that nice stacked elbow over the wrist, our ribs in, and that nice tall chest as we lower to the floor. We want to really embrace the concepts of that humeral glide to knee push-up in that dynamic push-up that is the burpee. So we want to make sure that we're keeping those key points nice and strong, stacked elbow, tight ribs, because that's going to help support the shoulder in that press. Our next variation of the burpee is our squat thrust. So it's a non-push-up burpee. So we're going to come down, plant the hands, jump in, or come down, step back, step in. Remembering that we're hitting that strong plank, and then we're popping or jumping our feet in to hit that nice squat stance to stand tall. So the key point here, strong midsection, strong plank, and those shoulders directly over the hands the entire time we're doing that movement. So when we set those shoulders, we are a solid piece from head to hip, and then those legs do the work dynamically as they shoot out, shoot back in. So play with that, take your time, make sure you're keeping those hips stable and you're not getting that hip swing or that knee bend as we're doing those squat thrusts and we're hitting that strong, stable plank. Take this down, have some fun with it, you guys. It's gonna be a good gasser. You need to take a moment or kind of pull back on the run a little bit to allow the swings and the burpees, right? You can have some fun with it. You can make one of those 2 pieces your focus. You can hammer the runs, go a little slower on the work set, or take a little slower on the run, hammer the work set. Whatever you want to focus on today, it's good to pick one or the other so you can really make it your focus and have fun with this one. Enjoy the day, have a fun time with this. As always, work for quality, have a great time. We're leading into the weekend. It's a great way to kickstart that weekend. Have a great one, you guys. Bye.